Yo, so looks like I got part of that right. Let's get back over here to me. Bam, and there we are. It's your boy, Eddie S. Pierce Jr. Um, all things Rainbow Room Publishing, writing, publishing books, and versioning podcast host. Here doing what I am referring to as the test, PHI, which, if you know your Greek, symbolizes love. But for my specific purposes, I've done a number of test episodes of the show in advance of the actual premiere, which will be this week, Thursday, 14th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is another opportunity for me to just get some things in order. And also for a couple other projects, honestly, where we will be employing the use of StreamYard. And so here we are with our third test. And as I think I said it in the description perfectly, since we had a beta test, we had a signal test, why not bring it all back to love, the five? So here we are. A couple of things. First and foremost, I want to thank my brother Tony Lavelle with Beat Clan Productions again for that amazing track. Like I said, we're going to get the bumpers, which you see at the very beginning of the show, at the very end, and sometimes leading in and out of commercials. We're going to get that right so that we have the appropriate credits for my brother. I'm also practicing making sure I'm looking in this right camera. But yeah, so that was one of the things we wanted to do first and foremost. But then the other thing was for anyone who watched the beta, no, I'm sorry, excuse me, the signal test episode, there was a little bit of snafu, but we learned, thank God. And the thing is that I was attempting to show the lineup for the upcoming three guests for the podcast. And so I was doing a screen share. And even when I was playing with it, they said you might want to have a second monitor, which I had, didn't think to use. But I did a screen share for and here's another reason for me not to be a fan of PowerPoint. But I was using it, and the way it was looking on my side, everything was moving, and you saw all four of the, well, not even just all four of them, because some of them are guests on my show, and then there's a promo for another show that I will be a guest on. But here's an opportunity to go back, get it right, and not only that, but do it better. And so first thing we're going to do is give people a little bit more time to come on in. But in respect for the time of those of you who popped up, you know, without any notice, because I didn't tell anybody I was doing this, I did want to make sure we had something a little entertaining for you at the beginning of the show here. So give me a moment. Let's make sure things are in order. And we're going to go about 5 minutes with this. I think you'll love it.
Published work Love, Something Infinite, back in 2011. And then his second novel was Love from Behind. There. And followed a third, It's Fine. It's Fine. No time for moderation. Then the third installment is Love Changes, which will be coming out. Eddie's a native of Chicago, Illinois, and considering to run for mayor. Welcome.
Every time I hear an intro like that, I'm like, bitch, this is amazing. No, that's me. The story. So my story begins as a 6-year-old boy who read fairy tales, mythology, and folklore from the Childcraft Encyclopedia set. I'm dating myself, but 78 was a great year. The Bible stories of Daniel were also a favorite as I was raised Christian. That makes a difference. And as a gay man in the making, you probably know where this story is going, but let's not jump ahead. I also read my uncle's unattended X-Men comics and a few other up-and-coming Marvel titles. But Aurora Monroe, the storm-bringing, wind-riding mistress of the elements, was and remains my spirit animal. Being a kid and being very visual, I was also big into cartoons. My fandom was, to borrow a phrase, huge, folks, huge. He-Man and She-Ra's secrets were fabulous. The trials of the Thundercats were amazing, and the steel-plated nerves of the Silverhawks were amazing. The Smurfs were the smurfiest, the Care Bears there couldn't be beat. Rainbow Bright and My Little Pony chased the clouds away. The Transformers and GoBots were, well, to borrow another phrase, transformational. G.I. Joe, Scarlet, and Lady J were fierce, and Jericho Benson, excuse me, Jim and the Holograms were truly outrageous. Yeah, we know where this story is going, but let's not jump ahead. For the most part, it was animated and had a hot mix music track, something like a little She-Ra. I was there for it after school and all Saturday morning. I was an addict, Filmation, Hanna-Barbera, and Disney were my pushers. By the age of 10, I was so drawn to storytelling in all of its forms, but that wasn't enough. I always found a flaw. The heroes didn't do enough for me in those 22 minutes. The villains weren't cunning enough. So I found myself writing my own stories, but I didn't start with pen and paper. Instead, I would go out the corner of the bedroom I shared with my brother, who was 5 at the time, and act out the stories. Not with posable action figures, nor the Thundercats Lair playset, or even the 2 intricate Lego castles. The latter weren't to be played with, despite how many times my brother had into my stuff. No, I played with random loose buttons and other shiny brown discarded bits of plastic. I say weird. 2 or 3 buttons and my initially audible made-up voices breathe life into individual magical characters whose movements across the hardwood floors of my brother's storyboard were holding my own and, of course, depended on my own hands, unlike their countless, often battery-operated Mattel counterparts. Yes, I was a queer kid, but let's not jump ahead. My family no doubt thought it odd, but never to my recollection made me feel weird about it. I guess it was just one of those things I outgrew as my exposure to books continued. So in time, I abandoned my less than conventional methods and became short 1 to 5 page scribbled rip-offs, excuse me, fan fiction. With very basic storylines, a lot of action, very little dialogue or description, and crude Crayola colored pencil illustrations, all on college rule paper, y'all remember that, also served as front and back book covers. How were they bound? I'm glad somebody asked. I used everything from Elmer's glue and paste, and sometimes even resorted to 3 twist ties to fill in those 3 perfectly measured and machine-cut holes. Yes, the green things know to hold everything together, including loaves of bread and trash bags. It was all very sophisticated. Hold on to those stories, sugar, Grandma would repeatedly say. They're going to make us rich someday. I got that first part of the equation down as I just reviewed those childhood masterpieces in the garage this year. Still working on that making us rich part, Grandma. Look at me, getting ahead of the story again. While Grandma's repeating refrain had planted to see the idea of writing creatively as a profession wouldn't even break the surface of my consciousness for at least another 20 to 25 years. And yes, I dated myself again, but I look great to be almost 40, so I'll hold it. Having figured out the basics of Penguin secret sauce and Random House's bookmaking recipe, 13-year-old Eddie began to challenge himself by writing longer pieces. The result, 100-some-odd page, space-age science fiction novel featuring the 9 planets of the Milky Way. If only I knew Pluto's fate back then. And while I'm on the subject, can we please make Pluto a planet again? The Disney dog pants. Goofy has pants. They're both dogs. They're all planets. Pluto's getting shafted. Yes, it's a wild tangent. I'm still upset, but I'll digress. The handwritten story will be typed on a PC, which was subsequently crashed, crushing my resolve, and the story be abandoned for a Fox Kids X-Men cartoon-inspired comic book series, another involved storytelling about until a word-for-word retelling of the spacefaring adventure on a road trip during college inspired me to type it again. Yes, I can hold a meaning grudge. See my aforementioned comments about Pluto. I'm still upset. This is Scorpio trait. Don't judge me, just cry for me. You know, I got it. In the medium between high school and subsequently college age was being force-fed early American and British literature, but treated to Zora Neale Hurston, Octavia Butler, James Baldwin, and Richard Wright while devouring the Chronicles of Narnia, I know y'all saw the movies, but great books, and exploring Valdemar and Mercedes Lady's Wing. The maps at the beginning of those last two and the intricate plots of my growing personal literary, visual, and animated canon were amazing as they led me away from deep, dark valleys of chronic depression and what would later produce 3 suicide attempts. But look who's still here. Reading, exposing myself to stories, and the act of writing evolved from a means of entertainment and distraction into healthy coping mechanisms and a means of examining a life that would later include an HIV-positive diagnosis, all from the same distance. The conflicts, rising action, and resolutions in these stories have provided needed positive perspective in relation to my own ups and downs, including, but not limited to, a passionate 7-year roller coaster romance with a certain sexy saxophone soul serenade, the essential reconciliation of my sexuality and spirituality, and discovering that the long lost love I had been searching from above and all around has first been recognized, embraced, and fortified from within. Then, from that inexhaustible fountain, the same love could and would be shared infinitely. Catch that. Catch me by surprise from behind, and endure countless life and love changes. Club, shameless plug, got them all in. The lifelong friendships forged with characters who would soon be joined by Raven Tyler and Basil of the late great Elaine Harris's Invisible Life series, as well as Pookie and Little Bit from the best-selling author James Earl Harvey Jr.'s B-Boy Blues series, more than distracted from crippling internalized homophobia. They would usher Eddie Saran Pierce Jr. and a growing cast of characters into a self-affirming life, not only as a 3-time and counting self-published writer, but perhaps more importantly, they introduced me and the world to the occasionally loud, always black and proud, eternally God in Christ loved, same-gender loving, Rainbow Room Publishing, catch that plug in right hand, gay as hell gold card member carrying, outspoken storyteller that I am today. Catch that plug in your left hand. Man, I would love to go on to regale you with tales of the hundreds of awards won, authors published, book adaptations filmed, countless lives enriched, the millions prophesied and made. I'm dying to amuse you with my overseas antics and international shenanigans. Haven't got over there yet, but I got my passport. I dream of spilling the tea with hot and steamy love stories about my third love / first husband / literal life partner. I can't wait to amuse you with gut-busting anecdotes about my first son, Mazai, and the Hermione Empire. Or even just to amuse you to inspire you by having been honored for my 10th outspoken appearance. But I think you guys know the line by now. Say it with me, folks. That would be the end of the story.
Oh man, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Being asked to do a reading and a performance piece, more so, for the outspoken storytelling events. And I don't believe I got all of the name right. I want to say it's the LGBTQ IA, perhaps by now, and a plus. You might have had the other letters. But at any rate, I was invited to do a reading there, and I suggested some old stuff, just reading from the book. And I was advised by Archie. Archie, I can't remember your last name right now, but by Archie to do something that really spoke to who I was. And so, lo and behold, because most of the pieces that I've heard when I go to this event, it's a monthly event. Right now, they're doing it virtually. And that's a shout out to anybody that may be listening from the organization. I think that's David Finch. Oh, Funk. Is it Finch or Funk? It's F. I think Kimberly is in there. If you want me, I'm still trying to get my other 9 shirts. I got one, and that I predicted. I prophesied I was going to get 10. There were a couple other things that we talked about, but I'll leave that for later as far as some things we talked about in that piece. But yeah, as I said, I just want to play something that was a little entertaining on the front end, give a few more people time to even notice that we were live. And I know it's not going to necessarily go over as well as I would like on SoundCloud and Spotify eventually, but at least you get the sound that hopefully you will have reason enough to laugh and be entertained, which is one of my 3 main aims and a lot of the things I do, in addition to, our different mission objectives for the company, which include a number of different things, including supporting small businesses, being rights. When I say human rights, I mean everybody. Okay, and I feel like if we get that covered, we've covered everybody. People of color, as we are now saying, Pacific Islanders that are getting hit real hard right now, and necessarily people of the Muslim faith, people from the traditionally Middle Eastern region. And teachable moment, please note, this is another good example of where quote unquote colonization has come in and redefined a people in their life. When we hear Middle Eastern, from what I've learned, it covers everything from Egypt over the Red Sea, and it's primarily, I think now the connotation is that it's talking about people from, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, things of that nature, whether or not they subscribe to the Muslim belief. That's something to know too, that because even though the majority there, similar to here, and it's actually falling here, the majority here is Christian, but the United States does not, and purposely did not identify themselves as a Christian nation. And so I'm just saying, let's bring down the walls, let's build bridges. All beliefs are valid, especially here. So we are, looking at ways that we can expand that philosophy and continue to serve and support. And of course, wherever I'm able to be featured, I'm going to do all of that. Now, the other reason that I wanted to do this today was because, as I said, I mentioned it in a couple of different places, that it was a bit of a snafu when it came to the fact that I wanted to give you guys some information on the lineup for the first 3 guests of the show. And if you bear with me here, I think we got it. And so now the one that came up, and even just to explain this, maybe a teachable moment for somebody else, specifically anyone using StreamYard like I'm attempting to do, like I'm doing. And there's a screen share option. And from my perspective, I brought up the screen share, brought up a PowerPoint to show you 4 different images, 3 people that I'm going to interview, and 1 amazing outlet that's going to interview me. And from my perspective, and even that warned me before I launched it, that it would be best to have 2 monitors, and there I was with another one that wasn't even was unplugged and just blank, and I can use them both, and at the very least saw that the error was there. But at any rate, this is an opportunity for me to make sure I go back and do this correctly, in addition to practice for any number of reasons, because we're going to be using StreamYard to broadcast quite a number of events and things of that nature, in addition to the show Rainbow Room Publishing Live. So let's go back into time. Now there's no sound here, and let's see, got it. So I want to make sure that I pause it as well, if that is an option. It is not. However, I'm going to stop right where it is. when it's done or repeat. But I wanted to make sure that this is actually the one image, and I guess that was God saying that's all you need, because all you needed was your mama, and all you need is your mama. But this was the first image that I brought up in an effort to inform you all of that. See, I knew that was going to be a problem. There it is. Bring it back one more time. And while we're doing that, I just want to make sure that you understood that the show will be premiering this Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And my first host will be my mother, Jeanette Smith, also known as T Fit Light. So T as in Trinette, fit as in get your body right, and light all this amazing sun that I have right now. And I know for her, for me, it also means the light of the world, who we know to be Jesus Christ. There she is. She's amazing. And so she's going to be on, and we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to reminisce about the night that Rainbow Room Publishing, as well as, well, the company was formed, but it was also a night that I released my very first work, Love Something Infinite. And so we're going to be talking about that all this year leading up into the 10th anniversary, which is November the 12th, 2021, the 10th year anniversary. Also happens to be my birthday. We talked about that before. We won't go into a whole lot of detail about it right now, but it is significant for a number of reasons, and we'll definitely get back to that. So let's get Mom on out of there for a second. And next, we were talking, and this was great that we got this done and got it done right. And I'm going to get this done even better. We are looking at Whitney Napoleon of Iconic Designs. And I know how to do this. Just give me a moment. And she is the person responsible for the logo, the person responsible for the So yeah, make sure we bring some information in there about Whitney Napoleon with Iconic Designs, who design. No, Iconic Innovator. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up an older business name. Iconic Innovator. And so basically, as I was attempting to say while the mic was muted, so come over learning before we on the show, right? But she is all things graphic arts and a number of other things, honestly, under both that business as well as just who she is and all the talents that she has. And so look for an interview from her, which will be tentatively scheduled for April the 29th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're definitely going to have better promos, that sort of thing, for her as we announce the fact that she's coming on to the show. Next, and this is a good one. I'll just let it play first. Well, actually, I can. I know how to do it now. Let's see if I can get my cell phone back in here correctly. There we go. Yes, so we got 3 episodes already lined up for you. And honestly, there have been conversations about enough of them that will last us through the year, particularly when I look at those people that I'm going to be interviewing, similar to my mom, Trinette Smith, T-Fit Light, and Micah's sister, Whitney Napoleon with Iconic Innovator. People that in some way, shape, form, or fashion helped Rainbow Room Publishing LLC become what it is today, where now we have our own podcast outlet here with StreamYard. And depending on where you're seeing it from, you're seeing it on YouTube, Facebook, and a couple of places, Twitter, and still working on some things with LinkedIn, and trying to figure out how to navigate everything that's going on with Instagram. But note that it's also in audio, so that will be found on SoundCloud for the immediate future. Well, currently, actually. And we're still getting things worked out with Spotify. Know that the aim is monetization. So wherever you see like, subscribe, please drop some comments. Even if it's some criticisms. You know, I'm a grown man, I'm a big boy, I can take it. But I would especially love those ones that are just encouraging, that are validating and verifying what we're doing correctly, because those reviews do go to the people in the industry that I need them to see, who I need to see it. And as I've said on several occasions, that the larger we grow, keep in mind, Rainbow Room Publishing, as I said also before, it's a lot, I said a lot. We're not just building a brand, we're building an institution. And when I say institution in my definition is a corporate sort of entity with a socially aware focus. And it speaks to the idea of where the outlet can serve the people. Something I learned in a lot of respects from the Father, the Divine Father above, but also from being multi-made, being a proud man of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, multi-chapter, Truman State University. Watching this clock, because we're already at 30 minutes and I want it to be about 45. So we want to get to the next ad, and this is something that I definitely want to do because I bungled some names and things, but we'll talk about it in a second.
Hey, I'm Dante.
And hey, I'm Dana.
And welcome to The Dante Show.
And there you have it. That is the Dante Morrison show. I am not gonna mess with your last name. I know your name. But when I did the Sigma test, my Lord, I don't know where this is assigned me doing too much. In a lot of respects, where I mispronounced the brother's name, but Dante Morrison is the host of the show, and I knew your name, brother. I knew it was 2 D's. And his co-host is Dana, D-A-N-A. But they're doing amazing things with the Dante Morrison show, or the Dante show, as I've seen it in a couple other places. And that Pyro Media network, oh my Lord, I said it before and I will say it again. And I've been advised by the awesome man that I call Baby that wherever possible, don't reinvent the wheel. Get on a wheel that's already rolling. And when I say it's rolling, it's moving down at a good 90-mile-an-hour clip. And when I tell you that that show and that outlet, as far as the network, they are doing amazing things. You saw the promo. But I wanted to bring it up and thank them once again because they are affording me the opportunity to interview on their show. Okay, and so that's going to come Monday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. They are in LA. Hope to visit soon. And I believe that is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Man, y'all making me work today. But if nothing else, because of the fact that they have afforded me this opportunity, I would make sure that they were promoted correctly. And I'm going to do a couple of other things, and they already are great about doing some things. But this may be a teachable moment for anybody, any creative professional. I usually always think about the artists I work with, but now that that tent is expanding into this awesome, we're gonna say palatial estate business that I talk about, and we're working with more creative professionals. The idea is that whenever someone is doing anything for you and it involves them promoting you, it's something I've learned. You need to promote in concert. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you do everything that I do or anybody else does. But where they're sharing promotional material, just share that, screenshot it, screen record it, copy a link, share it wherever. This is them working on your behalf to get your name out and get you more exposure. So why wouldn't you be a part of that process? And so that's kind of the aim there, as well as the attempt to go thank them and to ask for forgiveness before I get too much ribbing. I almost expected, I almost wanted when they interview me on Monday night. So like I said, keep up with everything we're doing here, and you will know everything about that interview and be ready for it. So that pretty much was everything as far as the interviews that were a little bit bungled, to borrow a phrase, during the segment test episode. So we kind of got everything in. But while we're here, I did want to do a couple of other things. And we want to make sure we go back to the pertinence. First and foremost, from a Black perspective, a welcome personally to you from the authors of The Blood, from a Black perspective, The Blood. Think about the Pan-African flag, red, black, green. 3 volumes of the book. First volume is red. What color is the next one? You got it. Black. What color is the last one? You got it. Green. From a Black perspective, the blood, the people, the motherland. We're going to talk about the other two later, but the main thing here is I want you to see this ad, and then we'll talk about the upcoming release events, which is another reason that I'm practicing all of this, because we're going to use StreamYard to broadcast that to everyone. So here we go. Bam, there you have it. Another amazing ad featuring amazing music from my good brother Tony Lavelle with B-Clan Productions. And you notice that you're seeing 5 faces that aren't mine. It's awesome, honestly, to be in the background a little bit. Barry Russell Simmons, God bless you, good night. But this project, From a Black Perspective, Blood, Volume 1 of 3. It is featuring the amazing authors that you just saw in that ad. And it mentioned the upcoming virtual release event, which will be a reading, a free event, which is a reading from the authors that contributed to the work, as well as a question and answer period that as of today has grown from about an hour worth of time to about 90 minutes or so. So please make sure you check out that event. Anybody that is on Facebook in particular, there's Facebook events. For anyone who is not, there is an event, and I will be sharing exactly how you can get right to that very, very shortly. Um, the next thing that we wanted to go to was, yes, and this, I'm glad we got notes. Let's speak on that real quick. Let me show you my teachable moments so you don't make the stumbles that I make. That's very important to me, business and everything else there. So people that will be like, hey, don't give away the secret sauce. I just want everybody to get their name out there who's doing something positive. So know that. I've been doing this little bit of I see you. So a few people that popped up early on while I was showing the comedy clip, just letting you know that I see you, I appreciate you, I affirm you, you're not invisible to me, and I thank you just for being here for however many seconds you are, whether or not this is live or the replay. And I wouldn't mind, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't mind just dropping a little love in the comments wherever you see this live or on the replay. But as I mentioned before, that we are looking for the opportunity to have teachable moments. And anybody that knows me, I've learned a lot about what we call extemporaneous speaking. So that's where you have a few notes and you kind of freestyle between. And when I'm doing this sort of thing, I'm learning, baby, you can't freestyle as much as you would like. You are not Hova, J-Hova, Jay-Z, Beyonce's husband quite yet. And so we got our good old notes, but I'm loving the other piece of having notes that lets me know we almost at the end of this. So if you've been rolling with me, just roll with me for a few more minutes. But we want to make sure that we talked about the 10th anniversary again of my firstborn, the twin behind me. Watch this move. And that one. And if you didn't see it, well, watch this. What I call BMW, not the car. Yes, the black man working, but an upgrade from Black Boy Magic to Black Man Wizardry.
Some kind of way, and I know you can't take another day. Feeling like you're feeling, the pain just won't go away. But I got a place for you, where all of your dreams can come true. Lay back and relax your mind, I'm gonna help you unwind.
And with that, excuse me, I was having a cigar. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a little bit of a celebratory moment because a lot of these things we weren't getting right. We're getting them right now. And but yeah, so you just saw the main ad for Love Something Infinite, my first work, which is as I coined it, I'm always making up words, so it seems, autobiographical fiction. And so in short, it is a piece in which I borrowed a number of true to life experiences. And much like most any writer, and honestly, this is largely what it goes to sometimes. If you look at your own life, and it's no, detrimental thing, but you may agree with me on this. I've had aspects of my life that were in the story and may have been written beforehand and then revised that I just said, this is not interesting enough to be in the story. You don't need all of the details. Learning how to minimize. And then, of course, there was the privacy factor. Definitely something I want people to know, that for all the stuff you see me do on social media, in books, that's why it's a little easier to do it on social media, because I put a lot of stuff in the books. And unless you're someone that's within maybe maybe 500 or so, maybe even 1,000 people that know me intimately, you wouldn't be able to look at that book and pick out the real details, despite the names, places, insert noun here being changed with political license, but political, yeah, poetic license. But I do speak to a number of things. I speak to some of everything, honestly, that got me to where I am now. It was something that I wrote primarily for myself. And I've talked about this before. We'll talk about it in more detail later. But it was an example for me of art that starts with one process. And because it is, while in some degree intangible, but others not so. It is an organic being, much like the baby that you birth, that continues to grow and evolve in what it can do in its purpose. And so I wrote it as more of an introspective piece. It turned into my admission into grad school, the Masters of Applied Arts and Creative Writing degree with Chicago State University. And then having to complete that, I needed a creative thesis, as we call it, which is a creative work of body fiction. In my case, ideally one body of prose. And so the process of writing it, looking at it, writing it, I kept seeing where it helped me so much to do all of that, and where it may help someone else. And so it became a book. And so, like I said, a lot of things are borrowed from it, particularly the idea of the need that I found, and some of you may share it, to reconcile my spirituality with my sexuality. And that's not to say that you're going to be all up in your respective place of worship, twerking and soliciting people for anything less than quote unquote brotherly and sisterly love. But the idea that you should, regardless of what's going on some level, walk into any place of worship, and for me, that's a church, and be able to bring all of you. God tells me all the time, bring all of you to me to the altar. That's how we get to this podcast. Okay, me looking at some other talents and things that I didn't feel as sure about and saying, God, but then he turned around and said, this is my plan and not yours. You better go back and get all of it. You better use all of it. So boom, here we are. And other things are growing out of that. But it was also about being a very, very vocal advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness and advocacy, as well as human rights, which I spoke to earlier. The right for anybody on this planet from here on out to enjoy a number of things that are unfortunately only in writing in the American Constitution, but I believe in the universal desires that we can all have the right to be free, the right to speak, the right to love who you choose to love, the right to own property, the right to participate in the democratic process, the right to have the standard of living that we are willing to work for. That pursuit of freedom and happiness, the free pursuit of happiness, I believe is the way we term it here in this Constitution. But please note too, I am personally not advocating for what has already been happening, that we as a country are taking our beliefs and spreading them all over the world, dumping them on people and imposing more so those beliefs on them. Your beliefs, wherever you are hearing this, in my opinion, are valid, as long as we respect. Because please know, I have learned, even from this very loving Christ, that there are times where you got to be aggressive and you got to push, okay? And that means that I will have my rights. I have the freedom to my rights and my belief, and you have your rights and your freedoms to yours. And we can discuss them. It's something that I've enjoyed the privilege of quite some time, going all the way back to high school. Which is one reason I'm rocking the high school ring, which, wow, my knuckles are now too big for it. This is like a 2-year ago update, because I know I used to be a wearer when I lived in Dallas before, and thank you, baby, I guess, for all of the beef. But at any rate, just this idea that we should all enjoy every aspect of being a human being that is positive, does not infringe upon the rights, the freedoms, the consent of others, and it looks out for those who don't necessarily have those rights being protected, who aren't of an age or a mindset, because that could be a baby, that could be an adult, that could be a senior, that aren't of the proper mindset, as we call it, a sound mind, to give consent. That's everything we talk about. with human rights. A lot more to talk about later because I'm really going to get into this political situation. I'm already talking to some people here in Dallas about how we're going to flip this bad boy blue, and not just blue, I said in other lives, where we are looking for those same type of values I talked about beforehand. And I believe those values can be found on the quote unquote red side of the equation. So you can be whichever one you want. If you want to ride a donkey or ride an elephant, are you looking out for the betterment of the whole? I can work with you. I can work with you. But yeah, so that was, a lot of the things that come out in that book. It is a book, like I said, that is on sale now at rainbowroompublishing.com. I'm going to show you exactly how to get to that in a second as well. Trust me, I've been learning how to make this very easy and condensed for all of you. Look forward to a number of different things this year regarding that book, including in particular the rebate promo that we're running. Pretty much anyone that buys that book now will get it for 25% off with free shipping. So it's listed at $20 on the website, or $25 on Amazon. Another thing to know that while Amazon is in some respects convenient, getting it from me, well, one, supports me more, and it allows me to do that good old personalized autograph to you. And so that's a promo that's going to be running between now and the anniversary, which once again is no, okay, 11, 12, 21. So November the 12th. 2021. I'm sorry, I had two dates in my head. My birthday, which is 78, which is on that date, and then the anniversary of the company, which is 2011. But as I said before, the closer we get to that date, that percentage of a rebate, that 25% is going to drop. The books are ready and waiting for you guys to come onto the website and order. I just saw today, I got to go and double check some things with the website and make sure that you guys aren't clicking on too many things that you don't have to. But yes, so know that that book is available. The next thing was, oh, yes. So I talked about promising you guys that I would be able to show you a quick and easy way to follow everything that Rainbow One Publishing is doing. And so what I have found, thanks to a good friend of mine who also acted as my social media manager for a good solid, man, I think 3 weeks. When I tell you, if for anybody that does workouts and particularly weight training, he was the checker, the spot checker. I don't even know if that's the right word that I needed. There was so much weight on me. He took it off me for a good second, gave me some advice, and I was able to roll with it. And here we are. But Linktree. So basically, I have this one link that you can pull up and it looks just like this image I'm about to show you. And from there, you can click any one of those links and get to where you want to go for anything related to Rainbow Room Publishing LLC, Rainbow Room Publishing Live, and all things Eddie S. Pierce, the advocate, the podcast, the brand ambassador, the producer, the author, the writer, all of those good things in between. So here we go. It is something that I'm going to be sharing with my various social media with the link. And I love the idea, honestly, that when you click on that link, whether you are dealing with Linktree yourself or not, it will bring up that virtual mobile phone. And each one of those entries is a link. It will take you to the company. It will take you to the services for anyone that wants to look into getting published or promoted through the company. It will take you to where you can watch the live podcast, where you can listen to the audio podcast, where you can find me on TikTok doing a whole lot of antics, singing for my dinner, dancing for my dinner more so. And then, the general YouTube page and, and the events that I've been showing you. And so we already showed one, and so that's a great segue into the next most important event that's coming up in terms of time. Not that one is more important than the other, but the idea of chronological order. And please bear with me as this sun is making it very hard for me to see my cursor. Trust me, like I said, lighting and all that will be under better control as soon as we get to the new studio space. And there she is. One more time. All right. So I had it. There's a way to do that where I can pause it and talk over it, but there was some complications today. But that is Save Some for the Poets. That is the National Poetry Month event. It was National Poetry Month, produced by Rainbow Room Publishing, and it will be broadcast by Rainbow Room Publishing Live. It is a virtual event. It will be staged here in Dallas. So where you're seeing the address, that was more so because the venue that is allowing us to use it as a studio space required that the location be on there. So we're not asking you to come there. The only people that need to come there are the people involved in the production. But for everyone else, you will be able to see it just like you're seeing this, wherever you're seeing it now. And ideally in a few more places by that time, you will be able to see the event. And some pertinent to note is that the featured host and featured performer is none other than my new sister, as of 2017, Passion the Lioness, aka Danielle Hall, author of Danielle Unfolded. So Passion the Lioness is her stage name under which she does a lot of different things as far as her performances of her poetry, which kind of lend themselves to spoken word, and modeling, advocating for domestic violence survivors, and just awareness. Man, Danielle does so many different things, it's sometimes hard to remember them all. And even as I switch back and forth with her name, and I so relate to you, sister, that you're trying to represent a brand, an institution, and yourself, and you go back and forth with the naming. As I mentioned, it is going to be an event produced by Rainbow Room Publishing, LLC, and it will be broadcast by Rainbow Room Publishing Live on Saturday, April the 24th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time until 9 p.m. The lineup, we're still working on some things, just some confirmations to get out there. I'll actually show you how busy your brother is, and maybe you'll understand why it's taking a little long to get back to some of you guys. Just the idea that the lineup is still being situated. I just had some great conversations, and I'm going to put it out there in faith once again, because I know this brother, and we are brothers in the word, in addition to brothers in our blackness and brothers that are artists. Aswalt and Love Sessions. So I mentioned beforehand that J.D. Williams, Gerard Williams of the Sunday Takeout, will be one of the musical guests. And as a result of that conversation, the band that he plays with on a Monday night, weekly basis here in Dallas at the Freeman Cajun Cafe, as well as playing in several other places. This brother just came back in from Mississippi the night that I saw him, maybe a day or two before. He came to me, we were talking and we were rapping, and somewhere near he explained to me that JD, being the awesome brother he is, took the news, ran with it like the first two apostles, I think it was Peter and John from Jesus, and told the band what was going on, told them where the budget was non-existent, and they said, we want to be a part of that. We're going to bring the whole band. So now I have the awesome task, a luxury problem, thanks God for it, to go back and look at the space. And there's more than enough space for a band. It's just a thing now of making sure that the camera can easily be moved from the staging for the other performers and to the stage. And we're going to make it work. I mean, for a talent like that to come through, I was going to have a clip of him up on the show, but we'll bring one up at another date. For anybody that's following me on Facebook and on Instagram, you've seen a number of my Dallas Nights posts. And in those, more often than not, I was at the Freeman, and at least 50% of the time, I was filming as well in love sessions. And so you can easily go back through those posts, but I know that more information is coming. But the brother said, hey, we there. And of course, you know, P and I, we know enough that you got to get everything confirmed. And even if there's no quote unquote contract involved, you need confirmation. So he, I, JD, and JD will be talking as soon as possible so we can make sure we got everything confirmed and you know, do our due diligence. Let them walk through, see the space, see how we can get everything done. But it's shaping up to an amazing show. I literally told Danielle, Passion Alliance, not so long ago, that we're going to have so much going on that, girl, if you want to, rather than you trying to figure out what to wear, let's pull a good old Diana Ross from the 1990s, 1980s, and do 3 wardrobe changes. You got time in between. So I got a couple of excellent timekeepers here that are helping me, the sun, as well as the fact that it is hot, and my battery on the laptop just decided to tell me, hey, you're almost done. So if you bear with me for a second, this is not going to happen often. I'm going to run another ad, and we're going to make a move. We will run the next ad here, but know that everything for saying something for the poets is definitely coming along. It's coming along great, and there will be more information about that soon. Here's our next ad. Quite serious, and that is why we are so glad you saw me move that cord right. It's your boy at work. We're so glad for the dedicated studio space that's soon to come. And man, that's gonna be loud. Sorry. Bam. There we go. Used a few muscles that haven't been used for the move. But there you have it. Sanya Haynes, our good sister over at Palindrome Global Publishing, the publisher of Jayla's Johns, the series that I've mentioned on several occasions that, in my opinion, is an excellent way for us to preserve our history as a people, of Black people. We will go into that in more detail later, but the main thing I want you to know right now is to look forward to some information, in addition to buying the books now, which you can buy them at my website, her website. If you get to my website, it gets you to hers basically. You basically are on my page, click a button, and you're her bookstore is what's happening. But, you know, look forward to the virtual event that is coming ideally in early May. We're aiming for Mother's Day weekend, which is May the 8th. And as I said before, it is a virtual event in which she will be streaming from Chicago, doing a reading. And during that reading, we will have at least 3 to 4 cities involved: Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, and potentially Kansas City, Kansas. And then also looking at some different things with LA and New York, where there will be a satellite location for attendees who want to gather in a COVID-safe, mask-wearing, socially distanced environment. And so they will be listening to the reading, and they will also have the opportunity to color in the coloring pages in the book. More information about that coming soon. Next thing that I wanted to mention is, yeah, we already did the link tree. Actually, yeah, I forgot we had to do this. Give me 1 second here. We got to do this the right way. So, you know, I'm always listening to the Divine Father about how to approach things. And as a result, I usually find that we need to use every opportunity we have and do everything we can. In some cases, where we are able to, thank you for this, Senior Haynes, heal two birds with one splint, as opposed to killing two birds with one stone. The idea being that we are able to accomplish a multitude of objectives with one act. And as a divine father teaching me lately, there's usually always, if nothing else, a technological hiccup that doesn't allow me to do what I plan to do in the first place. And in the midst of cussing, quite literally cussing and fussing, not at him, but I guess in some respects to him, because I find myself saying, oh, that was the Holy Spirit speaking to you, stop cursing him. But the Holy Spirit has revealed to me in a lot of instances to pause. You have a great plan, but pause. Let's look at this deeper and look at how you can maximize your effort. And so that's how we got even to the idea of doing this podcast today, knowing honestly that it's Saturday and who's going to really be in the house watching this. I know it's going to be watched later for the most part, but it's good promo for the premiere that happens. When again? Thursday, April the 14th. 7 p.m. No, I'm sorry, Thursday, April the 15th. If you're forgetting, like I keep messing with that date, tax day. After you paid man and got mad with them and both, sit on down with your cocktail. There's a green suit room situation, don't worry about that. But sit on down with your cocktail and let's relieve that stress together doing the premiere episode of Rainbow Room Publishing Live. But here we see what I'm referring to as the honey-do list. This is for somebody of a certain age and a certain tradition. Traditionally, it is all the things that a husband's wife will ask him to do. And from what I've actually even learned, further dimensions of the connotation is this is like your Saturday morning to-do list. And God help you, you got to do all of this on one day. Thankfully, I'm not. But I'm showing this for a number of reasons. One of them, to thank everyone that has been so patient when it comes to responses from, and please understand too, that when it comes to the incoming mail, it's come at me like 7 different ways. Rapid gunfire, which is a luxury problem. Once again, that anybody who wants to reach you and contact you for business, please know that there are some other things for personal reasons, and some of those personal reasons are not mine. So there's a lot of distractions that we're sorting out, people that I wanted to connect for reasons that don't have anything to do with entertaining, educating, inspiring. But I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I appreciate all the support, even reaching out, even the words of encouragement, the comments that I don't always have a chance to like and respond to. But I felt like a visual aid would be quite apt here. And so you'll notice, with the exception of the first thing, which does not look like something business related, it very much is. The idea of moving, the idea of getting into a dedicated office, and look at that, office and studio space, which is going to make all of what we're doing now much easier. We've already talked about the fact that we're dealing with the virtual release. For anybody that wants to help with that, a quick and easy way to do that is to say and click and share the events on Facebook and Eventbrite. Say that you're going, say that you're interested. It helps us stay at the top of the news feed. For anyone that is attending, please consider taking advantage of the opportunity to get the book from Rainbow Room Publishing directly for $20, as opposed to getting it on Amazon, which will also allow me to give you the autograph. A thing to know is that now that the inventory is an in-house situation, Amazon's price will be going up to $25. I have to cover the margin and the spread of how much they've taken from me, and I honestly would just rather you come to Rainbow Room Publishing and get the book from me directly. In addition to that, we are looking for anyone, and you can do this in any of the ways that you see fit. If you want to submit questions in advance for this event, because it will be a reading from all the authors involved, as well as a question and answer period. So maybe you aren't going to be in attendance and you want your question answered. Maybe you will be in attendance and don't want to type in the comments, which to be quite honest, I have a way to show them publicly and I know how to show them privately. And my experience with being an online teacher has shown me numerous ways where I can see something private real time and address that question anonymously. Please know that when you ask questions in any case, you may be asking questions that other people have, and you're doing everyone a service. Look for the event, sign up for the event, consider buying the book. You know that it's on a discount right now. For anyone that buys it between now and the end of ticket sales, which is at the beginning of the event, which, as I said earlier, is Sunday, April the 18th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Say something for the poets. We already did that. But in this case, I'm asking anyone that has not already confirmed that they will be performing, or anyone that is still interested in perhaps being on the lineup. The lineup is pretty much set up, but Rainbow Room Publishing, as I said in another video, always has a what? A plan, a backup plan, a backup to the backup to the backup, cha-cha slide backup plan. So as people potentially, perhaps, possibly fall off, there's an opportunity for you. If you're interested in performing, if you're interested in sponsoring in any way, we're looking at photographers, makeup artists, which is pretty much settled. The main thing right now is looking for anyone that will sponsor a good old per diem that we can give the artists in advance. And in addition to everything that we're doing, as I mentioned before, it is it's a free event. The add-on or the add-on ticket is for purposes of Danielle Unfolded, something we're doing for her because she is the artist. She's doing it differently. And so I'm looking at all these different ways in which we can support the artists and make sure that they all are getting paid. One way, in addition to doing that, is that we will have the opportunity for you to tip them using their Cash App handles, which, as you see on these amazing tickers scrolling across the bottom, I'll be able to put up so you know exactly where your money is going. Several of the other performers also have related products. So that may be music in the form of CDs, downloads, poetry, books, literature, everything. Danielle has the whole spread. She has the mugs, I think 2 different t-shirt types, the book, and I know I'm missing several other things. So in addition to wanting to make a tip, like I said, even if it's just $1 using Cash App, you will have the opportunity to buy the products, and it'll be a way to support them. But I ran into an awesome sponsor, potential sponsor for this event, and a couple of others, and she's going to see this when she does, so I won't name her. But here's an opportunity for anyone that wants to support these artists. The last thing, honestly, that we are still in negotiations about is having a craft services situation where the performers, because keep in mind this event, as I said before, it's going to be broadcast. It's not going to be something live that everyone can attend, but it will have a good enough collective of the performers, essential staff, including myself, band members, that sort of thing. And so where we can have a very, very classy, upscale type menu. When I say upscale, we're not talking about breaking the bank. We're just talking about great presentation. That just tastes good. So anyone that is interested in contributing to that, either in the sense of paying a caterer or you're a caterer yourself, I've already reached out to 1 or 2. We're looking for that kind of support. Jayla's Johnson reading and coloring event. There we are going to get some information out to the different venues that we're hoping will be our satellite locations from which the attendees physically, socially distanced, mask wearing, can participate in the event, which is a reading that will be streamed to them virtually, with the exception of where Senior would be located that day somewhere in Chicago, one of 3 potential locations that come out later. Like I said, Atlanta, possibly more than 1 location, Dallas, potentially 3, Kansas City, Missouri, at least 1, looking for LA, looking for New York. But anyone that has a space, or if you just have a home and you want to gather all your people together, let us know that. So if nothing else, in addition to listing you as a sponsor in that sense, we can give you public thanks. And who knows, the way public thanks goes for me a lot of times is that you might look up later on and I say, hey, I need your address. We need to send you some promotional material, like a book or 2. We are looking at, I'm just giving you an idea, like I said, of how busy I am in some respects and why my responses may be slow, but at the same time, God said this is a good opportunity to keep those sponsors. And so we're already looking at securing a distribution deal for Jayless Johns, and also looking at one for all things Rainbow Room Publishing. And it looks pretty good. And in addition to anything, for anyone who is concerned about what is going on with Amazon, which has been the primary distribution setup I've had outside of me selling myself, we are seriously looking at these labor practices. I'm not going to go too much into all of that, but we are looking at the way that they are not treating their workers fairly, and as a result of that, we are making every effort. Conversations have been had starting 3 weeks ago. We're going to move all of our titles. They may stay up on Amazon to give you an additional outlet from which to buy all Rainbow Room Publishing titles, and that is anything that is published or authored by myself. So you will see some books that are published with other people. We can't make those decisions for them. But, and maybe this is just a good movement to start and send a signal to Amazon and say, hey, we're paying for our TV, this extra shipping, our groceries, our products. We're selling things, you're taking money from us. And on top of that, you're not treating the actual labor, the physical people that are doing everything properly. And as a result, we're going to divest. I'm not saying I'm leading any charge. I'm just saying what I'm going to do for my business, not only for business practices, but because of ethical practices. I'm a firm believer that it's not just the things that you do that make a lot of logical sense in the finance and business and marketing that makes your company a success. It's the things that you do that are, in a sense, goodwill and humanitarianism. And so for me, the idea of pulling away, not focusing as much on what Amazon is doing in the sense of printing our books and helping us resell them to a place, particularly at Black owned and operated, but if not that, minority, if not that, small business. And there are a couple we already have in mind. We already talked about the idea of, we already announced the first confirmed author for Volume 2. From a Black perspective. Some of you will see this, that we talked to you about this before, still looking for the information. Know that anyone that has not been contacted about it personally, there will be amazing other opportunities, especially if you buy these books, there will be amazing opportunities that can be extended to you. Man, so much is going on. I already gave you the lineup of the interviews for the show Rainbow Room Publishing Live, but also notice on there that we're preparing to be interviewed. In addition to what I mentioned with the Dante Morrison show and his co-host Dana, there are about 6 to 8 other interviews, 2 of which have already been filmed. We're just waiting for them to drop. And so that's something that keeps us busy. And another reason why you may be in my inbox for a while, you may be waiting to be added or followed back for some time. We are, man, I love this. And this is something that's coming full circle. Won't go into much detail yet. We'll know more by Monday. And this is actually reminding me of something I need to put in my calendar. But there is a great opportunity for me to host either in person or virtually a major literary event in a major city in the U.S. during Black Gay Pride weekend. Hint, hint, it takes place in the fall. So you might already know. But we're going to do that. We're going to do it big. We're going to do it up. But know that it is something that, even though I told them I need 3 weeks to talk to you, is one reason that I can't get to you guys individually as much as I would like. And then there is this other amazing opportunity, very similar in some respects, to bring the book and as many of the authors as possible, particularly the alumni of Truman State University, formerly known as Northeast State University, where I earned my undergrad, where I joined Phi Beta Sigma, Mighty Nu Psi Made. But there's an opportunity to bring what we're doing with our literature, and it's something that makes me so excited, back to a campus that has done so much for me. And it looks like something that may balloon into something that involves all of the different organizations on the campus, particularly those that are African American focused. And when I say focused, that does not mean excluding anyone else, but bringing the support that we know that they need in a place that, much like most places in the United States, and perhaps potentially most places around the globe, is dominated by our Caucasian counterparts, and so we have to carve out what we can for ourselves and carve it out and then build on it and build on it and expand and expand and expand as the Lord allows us to do so. And so this is an example of how we're going to be doing that specifically with Trinity State University. And last bullet point on there, I've kind of been hitting on it, is that we're soliciting all kind of help and support. That tells me I'm the time that closed mouth don't get fed, greasy wheel doesn't get the oil, and you have not because you ask not. So here I am saying for anyone that sees this video, if you want to be involved in any of that, let's make sure we have the appropriate contact information. I saved it somewhere. There it is. Rainbow Room Publishing at gmail.com for anyone that wants any more information about any of those items, anything that you've seen today, wanting to be a part of any of these movements, wanting to be a sponsor, even if that just means you're willing to share things on social media, if that means that you are have a space available, that means that you have a service that we can trade off in kind, and even if our budget does not meet your needs right now, something that we can do in the future. So we're going to keep that up for a quick second here. And while we do that, last thing that I want to show is how I plan to spend my next couple of hours, because something that I wanted to definitely bring up is that I know how it is to be a business owner waiting for people to respond to you when you sent them emails repeatedly, when you're giving them deadlines and they've missed them. God has shown me in a lot of respects you need to move on. However, I know what it's like to be living your best life. And at the same time, I also know some of you say out about, you think it's just clubbing and getting it in. And in a lot of respects, it is very, very much a decompression that I need from work. And it's the thing that allows me to release a lot of things up here so that this can work better in conjunction with this, and then produce the art and the ideas that you see. I've already mentioned how many times going out honestly turns into all this great networking. We'll talk about that more later. But one of the ways that I plan to spend the rest of my weekend is celebrating my 24th year of Sigma Day. So we're gonna give you that clip, and after that, peace, love, and blessings. We out.